Hello everyone, welcome to Electronics Gateway. In this video lecture, we will talk about basics of serial communication. So what is communication? Communication is basically exchange of information, and in between two communicating device it can be done in two ways. One is known as parallel communication using multiple wires, and the another one is known as serial communication using single wire. In serial communication, basically the data is transferred bit by bit. So there are many advantages and disadvantages associated in both of these types. If we talk about parallel communication, since multiple wires are involved for mm, transferring the data, therefore speed associated with this type of technology is very high. However, if we use multiple wires, then the cost involved in this process must be very high. Therefore, the disadvantage of this type of communication is that cost involved for long distance communication is very high. Now, if we talk about serial communication, then this serial communication will enable us to use it in long distance communication. Why? Because the hardware requirement for this type of technology is very, we can say, very less. So the advantage of this serial communication technology is less cost is associated with it as compared to parallel form of communication, and the disadvantage is that speeds of this serial communication is lower as compared to parallel communication. Now here you see in this diagram that in parallel communication multiple lines are connected in between transmitter and the receiver side, and in serial communication only single wire is connected for in between transmitting and the receiver end. So if the data is only transferred from one end to another end, then only one line is required. But if data is also received from one end to another end, then another wire is also needed. That means one wire for transmitter, another wire for receiver. So if we want to do serial communication, then at the transmitter end, that is the sender end, a parallel to serial converter is needed, which will convert all the data which is coming parallelly from a microcontroller or a processor to convert it into serial data. After that, it will be transferred through a single wire, and at the receiver end we have to do the opposite process. That means we have to convert serial data into parallel. So now the hardware which is basically present in most of the microcontroller for doing serial communication is also known as UART. So you might be wondering that what is the full form of UART. So the full form of UART is Universal Synchronous Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. So the serial communication is the mostly preferred type of communication, as it involves only few wires, one for transmitter, another one for receiver. So there are many types of protocols that are basically involved or used in serial communication, and some of them are UART, I2C, SPI, CAN bus, JTAG, etc. So as we know that only single wire is involved in doing serial communication, that is one for transmitter, another one for receiver. So the logic state of the wire through which the data is transmitted serially depends upon the type of bit. So if 0 bit is transmitted, the voltage level of the wire becomes 0, which is shown by white color in the wire. Whereas if bit 1 is transmitted, then the voltage logic of that wire becomes 5 volt, that is logic high, which is shown by red color. Now in the above animation, can we figure out that what is the data arriving at the receiver end? Can you answer it? If we transmit a data through a single wire, then is it possible to recognize that data at the receiver end? The answer is no. Why? Because the data is not synchronized. That means the receiver doesn't know when the data bit of data, when the starting bit of data is coming and when the last bit is coming. That means assume that in this single wire, four ones and four zeros are arriving at the receiver. So you see that when four zeros are arriving at the receiver, then the state of wire becomes continuously in logic 0 state. That means it is having continuously 0 voltage for 4 bit duration. Then for remaining 4 bit duration it becomes high. So how would you identify at the receiver that whether it has received 4 zeros or 4 ones? So therefore there should be some mechanism so that we can so that a receiver can identify how many bits and what are the bits that are coming or receiving at its end. So if we add one extra line which is known as clock line to synchronize the data bit, then it becomes easy to identify the incoming bits. As you can see in this animation, when the clock line is at logic high, that means when the clock line is red, then only the data which is coming at the receiver end will be read by the receiver. So here you see that when the clock line is high, that is red, then the data will be read, and when clock line is low and data is coming, then it will not be read at the receiver end. So in this way we can identify the receiving bits at the receiver end by synchronizing the data bits using another line which is known as clock line. So the data at the receiver will be read only when the clock line is high. In this animation it is red, which denotes high. Therefore in this way the receiver is able to identify the arriving bits. The same process is followed for I2C and SPI communications also. Now if we talk about UART communication, then it is different from other serial communication protocols. For example, I2C, SPI, CAN bus, JTAG, etc. Why? So the answer is it does not have any clock line. Therefore, the UART is also known as UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. That means when we do serial communication using UART technology, then we will basically do asynchronous communication. That means synchronous clock line is not used. So now we'll talk about that in how many ways serial communication can be done. So serial communication can be done in three ways. One is known as simplex, another one is known as half duplex, and the last one is known as full duplex. So what happens in simplex communication? In simplex communication, there is a sender and there is a receiver. The sender can only transmit the data and the receiver can receive the data. It cannot transmit the data to the sender. In half duplex mode, what will happen? The sender can either transmit or receive the data, but at a time it can do only one process. That means if it is transmitting, then the receiver has to receive the data, and when receiver is transmitting, then the sender can receive the data. Therefore, in full duplex operation, what will happen? A sender can simultaneously transmit and receive the data at the same point of time. Therefore, we can say that there must be two lines for doing full duplex communication. That means one line must be transmitter line, another line must be receiver line. So sender will have two lines, that is one for transmitting, another for receiving, and the receiver is also having two lines, that is one for transmitting, another one for receiving. Now UART communication is basically character oriented. What do you mean by character oriented? When the serial data is transferred from one device to another device, it is basically transferred in the form of ASCII codes. So you all know that previously ASCII code is of 7-bit length. Now the modified ASCII code is of 8-bit length. So whatever we want to transmit, it will be transmitted in the form of ASCII codes. And the length of ASCII code is 8-bit. Therefore, we can say that this UART communication is character oriented. Now, in UART communication, the data is basically transferred in the form of frames. So here you can see that each frame consists of a start bit, which is denoted by low voltage, and a stop bit, which is denoted by high voltage. So when the transmitter or the receiver end is in the ideal condition, that means it is not receiving any data or not transmitting any data, then the voltage level of the transmitter or the receiver line is always high, that means 5 volt. So here you see that the UART data frame consists of a start bit and one or two stop bits, and in between these start and stop bits, data bits are appended along with some parity bits. So the option of choosing stop bit is that we can choose either one stop bit or we can choose two stop bits. So since start bits are denoted by low voltage, so this low voltage is also known as space, and the high voltage uh, basically belongs to stop bits, or stop bits denotes is denoted by high voltage. Therefore, this high voltage is also known as mark. So start means space and stop means mark. So the number of data bits is also, the length of number of data bits is also optional. That means if a user wants, then a maximum of 9 data bits he can choose, but the minimum length of data bit must be 5, or it must be 6. So the data bit length starts from 6 and it lasts up to 9 bits. And this parity bit is optional for the user, that if we want to append parity bit in the data frame, then we can append it. If we don't want, then don't append it. So first of all, in the data frame, the start bit will be transmitted, then the data bit will be transmitted. Here in this case, we see that 8-bit data has been transmitted, and after the data has finished, then stop bit has to be transmitted. So here you see that D4 data is transmitted. So in this frame, you will see the binary equivalent of D4 11010010. So first of all, what is happened? Transmitter voltage is at logic high because it is an ideal condition. So when a data frame has to be transmitted, so first of all, it will generate a low voltage. So this low voltage at the receiver end will tell it that the data packet has arrived. After that, it will start its counter and read the data bits, and after the data bit has finished, then it will receive the stop bit, that is logic high voltage. So this is all about the basics of serial communication. In the next video lecture, we will talk about basics of serial communication using ATmega 16 microcontroller. Till then, thank you.